DMs, what's the dumbest way a player at your table has died? Well, that's an amazing question, but I'm going to go with told a werewolf to eat her, cast a spell, and got wild surged into a potted plant. The werewolf dutifully complied. I could also go with was told a lich's staff ate the life force of any living wielder, watched an NPC lift the staff and get desiccated on the spot, picked up the staff. He jumped into lava from a bridge over the lava lake after I specifically told them that it's a bridge over a lake of lava. Dumb and totally in character. Here's the setting. Volcano Caldera combat with a phoenix and cultist fire newts summoning it from the lava. Artificer casts spider climb on the fighter who runs along the edge of the caldera to get in range of the phoenix and absolutely dumpsters it. During the fight, the rest dealt with the newts while the fighter basically solos the phoenix. After combat, the fighter walks back along the edge of the caldera and the artificer goes, "Oh, I took damage in that fight and didn't check concentration." After 2 checks, he rolls a nat 1. So, spider climb is gone. Fair DM that I am, I go, "Well, if you want, we can pretend you never walked back after the fight and picked up from there, because you didn't know spider climb wasn't there anymore." This legend of a player goes, "Oh, my character had no idea it was there to begin with. He just believed he did that with his athletics, so he's still walking out." 1 botched athletics check later, his character slides into the lava. I go, "Do you want straight damage or do you want me to roll?" "Haha, I have fire resistance. Roll it. I want to see the numbers." I basically max damage roll and insta-kill him. Post-fight, just a dumb character. In character, dying like a boss. We will never forget Cecil. I had t-shirts printed for that player's birthday depicting the marble statue of Cecil wrestling a phoenix. Not the DM, but in a very long-running campaign, about 15 years at the time, one of the characters died while we were sneaking into the Big Bad's lair. He was a cleric thief, and another player was a paladin of the same deity. The paladin had been charged with protecting the cleric at all costs by one of their god's messengers a few sessions prior. He took it upon himself to follow the cleric as they were sneaking up to a particularly nasty group of henchmen to eavesdrop. We try to get the paladin to not go with him, but he's reluctant to give up his charge from his god. Cleric player gets frustrated at one point, tells the DM he turns around and yells at the paladin to go back or he'll get him killed with the clanking of his armor. DM gave him 3 chances to make it an above-the-table conversation, but he insisted on it. His yelling alerts the henchmen, one of which is a wizard who hits the cleric with a disintegrate spell. Rolls a 1 for the save. Poof! No more cleric! Tried to coup de grace a sleeping dragon twice. First time, somewhat foolish, he tried it, and the dragon woke up and killed him immediately. A day later, after getting rezzed, he attempted the exact same thing as if the outcome would be any different. Not a DM, just a dumb player. Tried to fight steam mephits in melee, was really new to the game. Killed one, it exploded. Killed 2 more. Between all 3 explosions, I did not survive. Jumped off a cliff at Dracula's castle, shot the ground with a legendary gun that magnifies the ammo inside of it about 200 times. He expected it to slow his fall despite it only having the recoil of the 45 caliber shot he put inside of it. The massive caliber shots made an artillery-sized crater, and he fell into it, dying. Might be the guy who insisted monks are built to be grapplers and died hugging a guy in spiked armor. Or one of the numerous times a PC has waded right into the middle of a dozen-plus orc-like enemies at a low level. One time, had a dragon described as flying past overhead. For ambience, the paladin fired a crossbow at it, and he didn't last a single round. Attacked a Drow Elite Guard, Drow Scourge, that was protecting his matron. A CR9 versus level 2. Just because I introduced an NPC was for late game, doesn't mean you should try to attack it or think they are like CR half or something, you know? Assumptions can kill, my guy. I was the player and not the DM, and the first was about ignorance and not straight stupidity, while the second was just unfortunately dumb, but I'll give you two. My first ever character was a fighter who dumped charisma. We'd been warned about a spirit who is confused and should not be told the truth about her status as undead. So rather than talk around it, I just launch into a long and descriptive story about who we are and why she should help us before anyone else can even say a word. Deception roll, that's the thing? Am I good at it? Yeah, I was not. The DM gave me advantage for the talking, but they had warned me from the jump that they do not retcon things, and what I declared would stand. So my word stood. I did not. The spirit flayed me alive in a single attack. I failed all of my death saves. I died lying to the spirit of a confused little girl due to my own ignorance. Now, the second character I ever made went down, but I saved on my death saves. I was stable and would wake up in 2 hours even if no one healed me. When the black hole portal opened in the room I was down in, I was allowed to just be good. Although technically alive, I had no capacity for movement and would not be sucked in with the others. But my friend, my comrade, my brother in arms, he is being sucked in, and he's not close enough to the doors or wall to grab on like the others did. He grabbed the only thing he could, the corpse of his friend, which appeared to not be affected by the spell. But then, I was a held object with no anchoring. So, off we go! Now, the portal was not instant death, but it dropped us in a dark room into a pool of acid. I am down again to the first round of damage. My friend attempts to pull me out of the pool. A pool he has to swim in, because he's a gnome and small. Pulling a dead weight cuts his speed. A pull that should have been escapable in 2 rounds of light damage for a group of standing PCs and 6 rounds of light damage for a downed PC and the gnome dragging him while swimming. I die due to repeated damage. No rolls. Once my death is confirmed, the gnome can let me go and dash while swimming to get out without taking any more damage. And that's how my first 2 D&D characters died, in rather short succession. My first survived 5 or 6 sessions, and the second only 4. My third character was a bit of a brutal survivalist cleric for that. Curse of Strahd, first session. An insta-kill fog appears to usher the party towards the death house. Chaotic evil wizard pushes NPCs into the fog as an experiment to observe the phenomenon. Lawful good paladin pushes wizard into the fog. Strength rolls were an easy contest. It was like 15 minutes into my friend's first time as a DM. Session 1. Players are at a carnival where one of the activities is riding on giant tortoises. One player is playing a character with a constitution score of 6 and a grand total of 12 HP. Player wants to try and pet the tortoise he has to ride. Fails the animal handling check. Keeps trying, fails again, happens again. Slowly, the tortoise has gone from generally on board with the situation to actually pissed off. Well, the player tries again and fails again. The tortoise is now very angry and tries to nip the player with a nat 20. Proceeds to roll a grand total of 24 damage, killing him outright. Basically, the player tries to pet the tortoise one more time and is instantly bitten in half. Fun character bonding carnival turns into fatal accident. Hysterics at the table. Rest in peace, Suzzlefib. A player had a wild magic sorcerer whose whole shtick was that they were very nervous and jumpy, and they would reflexively cast AoE spells if they were surprised. At the end of a long dungeon, I had a little rewards room with a few treasure chests, but a couple of them were mimics. The ranger went in and opened a mimic, which shocked the sorcerer, and he fireballed the room. Besides badly damaging the ranger, he triggered wild magic and opened a 90-foot pit right under his own feet. He failed the dex save to catch the edge of the pit and fell 90 feet to his death. No one was able to scale down in time before he failed his death saves, but frankly, the other party members weren't super keen on rescuing him anyway. He got the mimic, though. my players broke into a mansion known to be overrun with goblins, cleared a single room, making a ton of noise in the process, and then decided to take a long rest without posting guard. Bad idea. I tried to give them a bit of help by at least waking them all with the onrushing horde, but none of them made it out. Needless to say, rests are a bit more structured these days. Adult Red Dragon laying siege to a city. Level 7 Druid stands on top of a building and yells at the dragon, insulting it. Probably not a good idea. Rolled high on performance to get the dragon's attention. Dragon turns around and burns the druid to a crisp, as well as the building the druid was standing on. Still completely unsure what the druid was attempting to do. We had a player absent 1 week. If only one player can't make the session, we can still play. We stumbled into the safe house of some rival mercenary NPCs we'd been tasked to deal with. On the VTT, the tokens for these NPCs had names attached to them, something we'd not seen before. One of those names was similar to that of the missing player's PC. The player at the top of the initiative entered first, misreading the similarly named NPC's name as that of the missing PC. "John?" he asked, confused, and ended his turn. Everyone else assumed his character knew this NPC, who we could all see looked nothing like the missing PC, and while the name might have been pronounced similarly, was definitely not spelled the same. So did nothing with their turns either. Asking, wondering who this NPC was, until the NPCs took their turns. We did not recover from the initial onslaught. These were no ordinary mooks. Most of them had class levels. Or the confused laughter. 3 PCs didn't make it, 1 was beaten into the dirt, and the rest of us tried to flee. While the campaign is still ongoing, only 2 of the group present at the time are still part of the group, the DM and myself. Yet, the turn of phrase, "fucking monks, man," that encounter spawned persists to this day. Party returned to the capital city, home of the Thieves Guild Underworld, after the ranger repeatedly and openly defied the orders they gave him. He went to his previous contact, who told him a bounty was on his head, and that assassins across the city would be attempting to kill him, like John Wick. 5 minutes later, they're walking through the rough part of a town when a dirty old lady calls out to him and says, "She has something to show him." Without missing a step, he convinced the rest of the party to stay outside while he went inside alone. The lady led him into a room where she drops her disguise, another assassin drops invisibility, and they both stab away, killing him. I made it as obvious as I could, with shifty looks, dodging questions, and insisting he comes in alone. That was the only time I didn't feel bad killing a PC, as it was a result of multiple stupid decisions. Not the DM, but one of our players is currently on death saving throws due to drinking a health potion and it being a mimic. Oh god. Instead of saving herself by using gaseous form and passing the mimic through, she cast dancing lights. When I asked her about it, she said she wanted her character to go out doing what she loved. Oh, that's cute. Level 0 funnel. Huh? PC tried to throw an improvised Molotov and rolled a 1, which prompted a 1d8 directional roll to determine the landing point. Firebomb goes off on the 1 escape route from the tavern under attack. PC tries to flee through the flames to avoid the attackers, fails the dex save, now on fire. Fails the dex save to climb down the short ladder. Fails 1d6 fall damage. On fire, dead. Party I'm in, fighting a necromancer's undead horde. We learn that, while the necromancer isn't present, he commands the battlefield via proxies. These proxies were originally human, and all wear cloaks coated in necromantic magic, which gives the creature wearing them immense necromantic abilities, and the ability to further command the horde. An identify spell reveals that these cloaks kill the wearer when worn and turn them into an undead under the main necromancer's big bad evil guy control. The rogue, absent-mindedly, decides that a cool magic item is a cool magic item and declares, "I put on the cloak." Cue a session derail as they're instantly killed, and now the party has to fight another one of these necromancer mind-controlled mini liches. Except this one has all the magic items and stats the rogue had in addition to its new powers. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell, and of course let us know in the comments below. DMs, what's the dumbest way a player at your table has died? And of course, if you want to support the channel, make sure to join our membership program. You get early access to videos, and we get to keep our lights on rolling. We love you all. Please be safe and happy. We'll see you next time. Toodaloo.